Okay, open up to page 32. We are going to go over how to solve an equation for a different variable. So, what that means, now first of all, you guys know what that means, because if I had given you this equation and said, what form of a linear equation is this? You would have said that's a linear equation in standard form. And if I said to you, I want you to solve that for y, or put it into function form, or put it into slope-intercept form, all of which means solve for y, you would have said, that's easy. I subtract 2x from both sides. So 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. Then I divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. So you know how to solve an equation for a different variable, because we did it all the time in chapter 4 when we changed an equation that was in standard form into slope-intercept form. We solved for y, or we put it into function form. Now, here is the interest formula. Okay, we did this way back at the beginning of the year, but you also did it last year. And it stands for interest equals principal times rate times time. Well, sometimes we may know the interest and we need to solve for the principal. You know, I want to make this much interest at this rate over this amount of time. How much money do I have to invest? So you want to solve for P. Well, to solve for P, that means isolate P. How do I isolate P? Well, right now P is being multiplied by R and T. How do I undo that? I divide by R and T. So I get P equals I over R times T. I have just now solved the interest formula for the principal. So this way, if I know the amount of interest I need, the rate I can get, and the time I can invest, this will tell me how much I need in principal. Now, let's try solving this for T. So T is being multiplied by P and R, so if I divide both sides by P and R, I get T equals I over PR. So I have just solved the interest formula for T. Well, now let's solve the interest formula for R. So what do I have to divide by? P and T. They cancel out, and I get R equals I over PT. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to practice solving for different variables using skills that we've already learned. Now, here is the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. We want to solve this for W. Well, to solve for W, that means I want to get W all by itself. So first, I'm going to subtract 2L from both sides. So I get 2W equals P minus 2L. Now, is this solved for W? No, it's not, because now it's solved for 2W. So how do I get rid of the 2? Well, the 2 is multiplying the W, so I divide by 2 to get rid of it, which means I have to divide this by 2 and this by 2. So I get W equals P over 2 minus 2L over 2. And those 2's can cancel out. So I end up with W equals P over 2 minus L. Okay? Now, the next formula is the area of a triangle. Right? Now, this has a fraction, and trust me on this. When you have to solve for a different variable and there's a fraction involved, you want to get rid of the fraction. We all know how to get rid of fractions. We get rid of fractions by multiplying by the common denominator. In this case, there's only one denominator, 2. So I'm going to multiply this term by 2 and this term by 2. So I get 2A equals, these all cancel out, so I'm left with BH. Now I'm going to solve for B, which is going to be easy because now I just divide both sides by h, and I get 2a over h. Now trust me on this. If you try to do this without getting rid of the fraction first, you will get messed up. So some of you might say, okay, I'm going to divide by 1/2 and h. And you're going to get this, and you're not going to know what to do. So if this happens, you say to yourself, I'm going to start all over again. And remember that Ms. Chemers told me always get rid of the fraction. We get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the common denominator. Okay? Now, let's look at our old friend, the slope-intercept form. Now, this is solved for y, but there's an m, an x, and a b. So let's solve the slope-intercept formula first for the slope, then for x, then for b. Okay? So, if we're solving for m, right, we want to get rid of b. So we get y minus b equals mx. Now, we want to get rid of the x, so we divide this by x, we divide this by x, we divide this by x, and we get m equals y over x minus b over x. Looks strange, but it's correct. Now, suppose we want to solve for b. That's going to be a little easier because we just subtract mx from both sides, and we get b equals, y minus mx. Okay, now suppose we want to solve for x. Well, we subtract b from both sides, and then we divide by m, divide by m, divide by m, and we get x equals y over m minus b over m. Don't know why we'd want to solve for x, but it's good practice. Okay, so now let's turn the page, and we can skip the temperature formula, and let's look at page 33 and do some of these. Now, for number 1, y equals 2/3 x plus b. What do you notice? You notice a fraction. What do I think of fractions? I think get rid of them. How do we get rid of a fraction? We multiply by the common denominator. What's the common denominator here? 3. So I'm going to multiply this by 3, I'm going to multiply this by 3, I'm going to multiply this by 3. So I get 3y equals, these cancel out, 2x plus 3b. Now I'm solving for x, so I'm going to subtract 3b from both sides. So I have 3y minus 3b equals 2x, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So x equals 3/2 y minus 3/2 b. Okay? So now I want you to go ahead and try number 2. Stop the video, try number 2 on your own. When you're done, turn the video back on and watch me do it and see if you're correct. Okay, so for number 2, y equals 3/5 x plus b. I want to get rid of this fraction, so I'm going to multiply everything by 5. Here, that's 3x plus 5b. So I multiplied every term by 5. Now I'm solving for x, so I want to subtract 5b. And I get 3x equals 5y minus 5b. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. So if you get x equals 5/3 y minus 5/3 b, or 5b over 3, it's the same thing, you are correct. Okay, so now you're going to watch me do number 3, and then you're going to stop the video and you're going to try 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so number 3, 3x plus y over -2 equals 3. I don't even care what I'm solving for. I see a fraction, I know I need to get rid of it. So I'm going to multiply this by -2 and this by -2. Now, I'm not going to distribute this -2. Why not? Because I'm going to cancel it out with that -2. So I end up with 3x plus y equals negative 6. I'm solving for x, so I subtract y. I get 3x equals negative 6 minus y. Now I divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. X equals negative 2 minus y over 3. Move that up. And that is your answer. This is a y, not a 4. Okay, so now stop the video and you try 4, 5, and 6 on your own. Remember, get rid of those fractions. So, number 4, 4x plus 4y over 4 equals negative 2. I'm going to multiply everything by 4 so I can get rid of that. And I get 4x plus 4y equals negative 8. I'm solving for x, so I subtract 4y from both sides. Divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. X equals negative y minus 2. And remember, if you got negative 2 minus y, just as good. Okay, number 5. X minus 2y over 6 equals negative 2. I want to get rid of the 6. I cross them out. Multiply this by 6. I get x minus 2y equals negative 12. Add 2y to both sides. X equals negative 12 plus 2y. Again, you could have 2y minus 12 and same thing. And for number 6, x minus 3b over c equals 7. I want to get rid of the c. Multiply both sides by c. I get x minus 3b equals 7c. Add 3b to both sides. X equals 7c plus 3b. Okay, now let's look at the challenge problem. So number 7, c equals x over y plus 2. There's that fraction. I'm going to get rid of it by multiplying everything by y. These cancel out, so I get cy equals x plus 2y. Okay? Now I'm solving for x. So now I just have to subtract 2y and I get x equals cy minus 2y. Okay? So go ahead and try number 8. Stop the video, try number 8 on your own and see if you can do it. So number 8 is y equals m plus x over b. I want to get rid of that b. So I multiply both sides by b and I get by equals m plus x. Now I just subtract m, x equals by minus m. Okay, so you can stop the video now. There'll be another video on page, let's see, 35